I forgot that you wrote a book.
It's 2018 it came out, so I must have started it in 2017.
Quite young to write an autobiography, but a lot of had gone down.
And even more has happened since.
Gonna have to write part 2.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. And look at me now! I'm playing Hedda Gabler.
From Bert.
From Bert to Hedda.
Anything can happen. Lily, what do you sing with your perfect choral lullaby voice?
I sing Baby Mine. Sometimes if she's like really upset, then I'll just bust it out and she just goes to sleep.
I'd love to hear you sing that.
This episode of Miss Me has some very strong language, some adult themes, and some sexual references.
That are a bit strong.
A little bit strong.
Hello, welcome everybody to Listen Bitch. It's back to Listen Bitch. Why is it back to Listen Bitch?
Because it's Monday.
No, because you're back.
Oh.
Babes.
Here she is.
We gave it another title while you were away. It felt right.
What was it?
Bitch, listen. You don't like it. You don't like it. It's more for Zowie. Zowie said it quite cool. She was like, bitch, listen. It was sweet. It was like Zowie's little thing. It was just, don't worry, just this thing between me and Zowie.
Okay.
Welcome back, the Queen.
Thank you, Zowie, if you're listening, for taking my position.
She did a good job, didn't she?
She did, yeah. I thought she was really great, and I thought she's just smart, isn't she? And thoughtful. I like her. I like her a lot.
Okay, the theme for this week's Listen Bitch is books.
Yeah, who fucking chose that?
Me.
Okay, thanks.
It's summer, right? Everyone's on summer holiday. Everyone's thinking about what books they want to read. I've read some. You've read a lot. Let's see where we get to. Let's have our first question for this week's Listen Bitch.
Hi, Lily and Miquita. It's Amy from the New Forest. I just want to say, Lily, it's very nice to have you back, and I love your book, My Thoughts Exactly. It is one that I have recommended to my friends. I get to my friends because I just think a woman standing in her truth and power is very much not really done anymore, and you were a bit revolutionary with that, so thank you. I adore it. My question on books is, do you guys have like a typical genre you go for? So I very much read non-fiction. I like learning and like memoirs, non-fiction. Do you have like a typical genre that you go for and rely on when you're reading, or like that's a bit of a comfort to you? I love this podcast so much. I love you both so much. Miquita, you're going to have to write a book because I've got and read Lily's and I love it. So feel free whenever you're ready.
Oh my God, my life story.
I'd read your book.
I forgot that you wrote a book. Thank you for reminding us. You did that? Mm-hmm. How old were you when you did that?
It was 2018 it came out, so I must have started it in 2017. So, 32.
Quite young to write an autobiography, but a lot of shit had gone down.
And even more has happened since.
Gonna have to write part 2.
Yeah. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I go through phases with books. Sometimes like I'm into like non-fiction and I get it like very into specific subjects. So I think like last year I got quite into smartphones and kids and, read that book, The Anxious Generation, and a few others that were kind of on that same subject matter.
You were sort of educating yourself last year a bit, weren't you?
A little bit, yeah. And then I have times where I'm feeling like a little bit, I just need something that sort of nourishes my soul and is not it's not nostalgia. Like at the moment I'm reading Heartburn by Nora Ephron.
Oh my God, what a book!
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've read that.
And there's something like that realm, Nora Ephron, Joan Didion,
yeah.
Even like Curtis Sittenfeld. She's quite American female writers, actually.
Did you ever read Erica Jong? Is it Jong Fear of Flying?
No.
I think it's like a sort of 60s seminal book about female pleasure and masturbation, but it like changed the world. Right. I really feel like I should read that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm quite bad at reading books that are about things that I know nothing about, which is actually probably why you should read a book. I get a bit too much, like I need a lot of familiarity. Like I went into a real phase of reading a lot of Martin Amis because his stories were about sort of like middle class people in West London and North London.
So you have to be able to see yourself in the books, you think?
Maybe not even see myself, but see things I know.
Ah.
Like the Rachel Papers was like this young boy. It's such a great book. I think it's his first fucking book, Martin Amis, and it's like a young boy in 70s Notting Hill. And I was just like, yes, please. Oh my God, more of this. And then there's a great film with Dexter Fletcher in it. But it's important to read about things you know nothing about. And that's what I need to do more in books. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I just find them like escapism. Saying that, in the last year, you know, it's no news to anybody that I've been having, you know, really struggling and having, you know, quite extreme ups and downs. I have found it really difficult to read. I found it really difficult to concentrate on anything without sort of being pulled back into my own sort of like vicious thought cycle.
That's such a shame because it would be so great if they could help.
I know my mom is she is like crazy reader, and she really, you know, she can be like in the middle of a sort of like rageful like argument with her partner or something or whatever, and she'll pick up a book and it will calm her down. Like I can't do that. I sort of have to be calm to read. I can't.
Right.
It doesn't calm me down. I can read like, you know, 15, 16 pages and just be like, oh, wait a second, I haven't read any of that. I mean, my eyes are following the words, but I'm thinking about something else.
Well, do you know what is good for that? Coffee table books.
Yeah.
I've been reading like a lot of like 100, I read this like Vogue, 100 Homes Through 100 Years, which I loved. And then Autumn, when she left, her present that she got me was the book of the homes of the man who did the interiors for Ralph Lauren's homes. And I was like, yes, please. This is the shit. Very Architectural Digest, World of Interiors kind of books. I'm really enjoying those at the moment. And I think that I've obviously had quite a hard time as well. And that's really helped me. But that's probably just about visioning my new flat. My new home.
Yeah.
Use a book to dream. Let's have another question. We don't want to waste all our book energy on just one. Let's turn the page.
Hi, Lily and Miquita. My name's Brad and I'm from Glasgow. People always say that the book is better than the movie, but are there any on-screen adaptations that you prefer?
Yes.
Really?
Films you prefer? Yeah, maybe I love the film of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory more than the book.
Interesting.
I thought they created the world of Roald Dahl excellently.
The first one, yeah, obviously. The second one was...
Yes, I absolutely hated the later ones. I really hate CGI animation. And I really felt like I liked Tim Burton, but I felt like he really ruined Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in that Johnny Depp one with all that horrible CGI. And then the Timothy one, I didn't even bother. I was like, no, it's going to be all CGI. But wait, I know there is something where I've gone, this is better than the book. Maybe the BBC adaptation of The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe? Fucking loved that.
Yeah, that was fucking epic, actually, wasn't it? We used to watch that a lot as kids.
Every day. That was so well made. BBC, young people's television in the 90s. Excellent. So maybe kid things.
I might even go as far as to say like that old like 60s or maybe 70s version of the Railway Children.
Yeah, but those were all such good adaptations. I mean, to be fair, I didn't really read the Railway Children, so I don't know how the book was.
I did. I did a school production of it. I played Bert, the railway master's son.
No, you've told me that.
I had to read it in English and do the play. And look at me now! I'm playing Hedda Gabler. Yeah. From Bert to Hedda.
Anything can happen. Let's have another question. No, Lil, you ask actually, because you're back and you must have really missed asking for questions. You fucking ask.
Please, can we have another question?
Hi guys. Yeah, I've got a question about books. It's Phoebe, by the way. I remember reading, I can't remember what it was called, but it was written by the woman that wrote Waiting to Exhale. And I was like 11. And it was the first time I came across the word erection and like actually various other things. What is your first like sexy book memory? I suspect it might be a bit Judy Blume or something. But yeah, what was your first like soft porn sexy book memory?
Thank you for taking us there, Phoebe. Great question. Great cousin question. Oh, do you want to go first?
No, because this requires me to have some memory, and I have no recollection of anything that's ever happened in my life.
I might jog your memory then, because we did read Judy Blume.
Okay.
And there was a book called Forever, which was so, well, it wasn't naughty. How do you talk about sex in a teenage novel? Judy Blume was a fantastic, celebrated, prolific writer throughout like the 70s, the 80s and 90s. And we discovered her hard in the 90s. And Forever was about like a first love, and it had real sex scenes in it. And it was written really well. It wasn't patronizing, but it was graphic. And I used to read some of those scenes to you. And we were like, oh my God. I think it's when we learned what coming meant.
Ooh.
Sorry, just throw that out. Sorry, Judy Blume said it a little less out of nowhere.
Did she spell it C-U-M?
Yes, and we were like, how come it's spelt C-U-M? What is this?
Oh my God.
I remember that vividly. Then I suddenly understood sex in a different way. This thing has to happen.
Doesn't have to.
Well.
And quite often it doesn't.
For everyone.
It still constitutes the sex if there is no coming involved.
From one party.
No. He doesn't have to come either. It's still sex.
Is it, if no one comes?
Yes, Miquita. Yes, it is.
Isn't that just intercourse?
It's sex. It doesn't have to culminate in somebody reaching orgasm for it to be considered sex.
So sex is intercourse, not the act of the intercourse ending.
That's called finishing.
And very often, I haven't finished. Excuse me. Before we get all excited, one sec, I haven't finished.
Sometimes I haven't even started. Jesus.
And also, God, I mean, I remember sex in books. Don't you remember sex in books? It's where you started, first you maybe if you're unlucky, hear your parents have sex. Hello, victim number one. But there's also, you catch something in a film. But books, you're usually on your own and you have time to sort of sit within it and reread it and immerse yourself in what this act is really like. But then there was this other book that I read, which was by Toni Morrison. I can't remember what it's called because I'd actually love to read it. But it was an adult's book and I found it at Nana's house when we lived in Spain. And then we went for a walk in the orangery. I remember this. And I'd read a scene in the book, a piece in the book where she gives this guy a blowjob. And I just was like, what the fuck is she doing? She puts this penis in her mouth. So when we were going for a walk, I said to my mum, this thing happened in this book. And I described it to her. I said, what's she doing? Can you imagine? I mean, you'll have to know soon. And my mum was like, this is called like a blowjob. I think she used that. And I was like, that is disgusting. And I said, oh, have you ever done that? And my poor mum had to look at me and be like, yes.
Yes, just this morning, darling.
And now, just as a grown up, I always really feel for her. I'm like, God, have it. Because I looked at her with real shock, horror, and disgust. I was like, I can't believe you do that thing. But obviously, I would have joined her a few years later. But we'll save this.
Yeah. I don't really remember reading. I still can't think of it. Actually, even in this book, she does talk about sex. But I remember, I used to read a lot of like books, like historical books, Like used to be really into like the court of Henry VIII and like books about like ladies in waiting and stuff.
But you weren't like, we didn't really have a romance novel time.
I feel like I used to read the word his member quite a lot.
Yes, that is quite romance novel. But I don't remember like reading Jilly Cooper Riders or anything and being like, oh my God. Like I didn't read any. What is that called?
He penetrated me with his erect member.
There was a lot of member chat.
As he inserted his member, I felt pain.
Victorian sex novels that Lily was reading.
It wasn't Victorian. It was like I used to read like a lot of that of Philippa Gregory,
So the genre that I was thinking of is called a bonk buster, and that refers to a subgenre of commercial women's fiction in the 70s and 80s known for its focus on independent female characters having salacious storylines, i.e. lots of sex. It was a whole thing. Really, really rang in the 80s. Okay, well, everyone get their bookmarks. Let's not lose the page that we're on. And we'll see you after this break. I'm just going to put the book down for just a little minute.
So as always, you can listen to every single episode of Miss Me that we have ever recorded on BBC Sounds.
Like last week, we talked about the stage, we talked about the summer, and we talked about the Highlands. It was that kind of show.
Hello, Miss Me viewers. I'm Roman Kemp.
And I'm Tom Grennan, and we're dropping in to introduce you to You About.
Each week we have very unfiltered conversations about the sort of stuff we usually say for our group chat.
Join us for our weekly conversation, otherwise known as a podcast. Catch it on BBC Sounds.
Welcome back to the books edition of this week's Listen Bitch. It's the books edition, the hardback edition.
Yes, please can we have another question?
Hey guys, it's Kat from Edinburgh. Why do men seem to be averse to reading fiction? I feel like past partners of mine or just my male friends seem to be way more likely to brush fiction off and opt for non-fiction books. One of my friends actually said, if I'm going to read a book, I want it to teach me something, as if you can't learn anything from fiction or kind of get any lessons from that. And I was speaking to my brother about this yesterday, and he was saying one kind of thought was that apparently it could be because males have less capacity for empathy as women, so they don't relate or have compassion for characters the same way that women do. Or I don't know, maybe it's that reading fiction is kind of seen as more feminine. But anyway, I think it's really interesting, and I feel like it's especially important in this era of the manosphere that we get men into reading fiction. So would love to hear your thoughts. Miquita, I'm so happy that you're embracing your Scottish roots, and Lily, I have absolutely loved you since the very start. So bye.
Oh, thanks. I'm so happy I'm rediscovering my Scottish root. Well, discovering. Thank you so much, fellow Scottish lady.
Why don't men read fiction?
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Interesting.
I mean, you'd have to ask them, but I would hazard a guess. It's they're not really interested in anyone else's experience except for theirs.
Yeah, I think that's good. That makes sense. I don't think I've ever been with a boy that's a voracious reader, and I think that would be really interesting. If someone wanted to read the shit that I'm into at the moment, like my Epping Forest book, if someone wanted to read that with me, I'd be like, or was reading their version of that. They were reading about a ancient medieval wood. I'd be like, I think we're meant for each other. I've never really gone out with anyone that reads a lot. Might have been an issue.
I didn't really know that was a thing that men didn't read fiction. I mean, now I think about it, yeah, I'm always reading some sort of House to take over the world kind of situation.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that now actually about my cousin Suleiman. He's always reading a book that's about
how to further improvement.
Yeah, not to bring Suleiman out. It's just an example I'm thinking of as a man in my life. And I think maybe there's a part of. It's quite interesting that the lady said that that it's interesting that maybe they don't think storytelling can teach you just as much as a sort of how-to. And I do think that's really important to know.
Maybe it's less about why men don't read fiction and more about why women feel that they have to create these fantasy worlds because our lived reality is so fucking unbearable. Maybe that's it. The men are already living in a world that they don't feel that they have to escape from.
Yeah, and we do. We need to. Yeah, I think that's a really valid point, Lily Allen. Let's have another question, please.
My question for you guys on the subject of books is that I recently became a godfather, and one of the things I'm really looking forward to doing when she's old enough is reading to my goddaughter some of the books that I was sort of enjoying as a kid. And I was wondering what yours would be in the same situation, whether, Lily, there are any books that you were really excited to read with your kids, or Miquita, what books you really loved growing up. Mine is definitely The Twits by Roald Dahl, but want to know what yours are.
Hassan, thank you. I was a Roald Dahl junkie, to be fair. I absolutely couldn't get enough of Roald Dahl. And I recently watched a lot of Roald Dahl documentaries, and of course he has quite a problematic past.
I went to see a play all about that.
Yeah. What was that play? Is that the play that Johnny Flynn was in?
No, it's what's his name from, that grumpy old man guy.
What,
Third Rock from the Sun? Is that?
Oh, John Lithgow.
Yeah, he was in it. He played Roald Dahl. What's it called? It's a play. It was at the Royal Court. It had Rachel Sturt. Giant.
Right? It was called Giant. I would have loved to have seen that.
You would have really liked it. I went to see it at the Royal Court. It was great.
But Netflix has just bought the whole Roald Dahl.
I did know that.
Yeah, I really hope they don't fuck it up.
Well, they won't, because it exists and it always will. So you don't have to subscribe to the Netflix version of it.
No, but I would love them to do an adaptation that I'd be excited by, with great actors and great acting and no CGI.
No offense, but it's not really for you anymore. It's for children.
If they were clever, they'd make it for everyone. Everyone wants to remember being a kid and watching those things adapted for... that's why The Simpsons is so big.
Yeah, but nothing is ever going to, beat The Witches, the version that we watched when we were kids.
Why can't they make it like they made The Witches, though?
Because what would be the point? It has to move on.
I hated the new Witches.
Exactly. I think you need to just,
get over it.
Be okay with them fucking it up, because they are going to do it, and you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. If you love Roald Dahl, just go back and read Roald Dahl.
I think they're going to do a superb job. Superb job. So yeah, love Roald Dahl. And then Goodnight Moon is an absolute classic, which I sometimes read.
Oh yeah, I read that to my kids all the time. The one that I wanted and was excited about, and I don't think I ever got around to doing it, was Eloise at the Plaza.
A classic.
And we really should have done, because we live in New York, and it would be, and maybe living in New York makes it less exciting, actually. Maybe it was because we lived in London. Well, I lived in London when I read it when I was a kid. And I was obsessed with Eloise at the Plaza.
Oh my God. It just felt so glamorous and exciting and otherworldly. Yeah, New York.
Also just living in a hotel.
Yeah.
Said she got checked into the rooms at the Groucho Club every weekend when my dad was looking after her.
Okay. Does that mean that in turn, when you were in New York with the girls and they were young, you felt like you were leaning towards kind of quaint English stories more to remind them of home?
I can't even really remember what I read. I just would read them books. I can't. Ethel then started to she was like, I don't want you to read me bedtime stories anymore. Because it got to a point where I would read them bedtime stories together, especially when we were in Queen's Park, because they shared a bedroom. So we'd all get into the bottom bunk and I'd read to them. And then... maybe it was in the pandemic. No, because they shared a room then as well. There was a point where they got their own rooms, and then it was
reading time was a solo thing.
Yes, or Marnie would like it. Ethel didn't care so much. She just wanted to sort of lie in bed and talk, whereas Marnie liked us to read.
It's such a precious short window, isn't it, where both girls are young and wanting to hear their mum read them a bedtime story. It goes so quickly, it feels it.
Yeah, and then Marnie got into me singing. She said I should have to sing her this one song every night to get her to sleep. I'm so sad that she doesn't want me to do that anymore.
I know. I didn't know you...
Sometimes if she's really upset, then I'll just bust it out and she just goes to sleep.
Lily, what do you sing with your perfect choral lullaby voice?
I sing Baby Mine, which is the mummy elephant song to Baby Elephant in Dumbo.
It's the song that changed your life as a kid. Interesting. Keep that wheel turning. I'd love to hear you sing that. My mum used to sing me a lullaby, actually. But anyway, that's not about books.
That's not about books, baby. Let's talk about books. Let's have another book-related question.
Okay, did we answer that enough for Hassan, though? So, the Goodnight Moon. There you go. Yes. Another question.
Hello, my name's Sophie. I'm a therapist, and I'm sending this from rainy Sheffield. My question is, so I'm piloting a book club whereby I've asked the people that are coming to bring a book. So rather than setting one, I'm asking people to bring a book that means something to them. We'll have a safe space to explore that together and kind of what it means to them, how they relate to it. Did it help them through a transitional period in their life? Anything. It just has to kind of mean something to you. So my question to you, do you have a book that comes to mind when you think about a book that's maybe helped you or comforts you maybe that you go back to? I'd be really interested to hear that. Love the podcast. Goes without saying. That's why I'm sending a message. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. I don't know whether, do you know who has this a lot? My mum. My mum is constantly talking about the books that changed her life. Lily?
Yeah, I'm looking up a book.
Okay. She's always talked. There's a writer called Isabella Allende. A lot of her books, my mum's constantly talking about. I mean, I think that's what this is making me think of. That my mum is someone who really educated herself by the books she read. And when she did GLR, that radio show, it was like a kind of culture show every day, and she'd interview a lot of authors. So at that point, we had thousands and thousands of books in Powers Terrace. Do you remember? And so I was around a parent who was telling me constantly that like books change your life. And I could see them educate her. And even the way my mum speaks, her vocabulary and where she comes from, and a lot of her empathy, I know is from her voracious reading. It didn't really trickle down to me. It does with other things. Like, I know I keep saying this, that I read a lot of like journalism and articles, but that stuff I find comforts me, makes me laugh, inspires me. That's where I find it. The Sunday Times.
Yeah, and also I guess there's like an argument to say that, because I mean, do you go to the off-license newsagents and buy the papers?
Yes, I do. I buy the papers.
So you buy it in hardback, because I feel like there's, you know, obviously with the internet and algorithms or whatever, we're fed things that we have already previously shown an interest in. And so, yeah, you're going to find comfort in that. I feel like I kind of touched on it earlier a little bit, that, you know, I would get into specific like genres or things that I don't know why I was like so taken with like the court of Henry VIII or the Tudor court or whatever it was. But I seem to remember the sort of like glamour of it is what excited me.
Oh.
Like the descriptions of all of the fabrics and the textiles, and, you know, like women like sort of, you know, dressing in corsets and having like, you know, sort of
busts. Women
that would like go and choose their clothes for them, and do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Grand lifestyles.
But when I was I was into the fantasy of the grand lifestyle. And also, like, I was probably the beginnings of my like interested in power,
because it's not just ladies; it's ladies in the court, in the most powerful.
Yeah, and there was a lot of like, you know, Machiavellian like planning, like managing to sort of like get yourself into certain positions if you're clever enough.
Why do you love this stuff so much? What interests you about power and the way people play with it?
I think probably like having none as a kid, you know, and being sort of like sent all over the place and not really having like much agency, I suppose. And also both my parents like occupying these different like positions in the world that felt like at the time that was being prioritized over, you know, me.
Right. Yeah.
So perhaps it was like you know, it's been like something that I've been curious about, like what's this thing that they've chosen
over me.
It must be like desirable for some reason. But also I remember when I was the girls' age, I was like infatuated with children in war. So like the Railway Children, Carrie's War, When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit, Anne Frank.
There was a lot of that about.
I was obsessed with kids in the Second World War. And I had like this sort of like fantasy of like being put on a train and sent off into the countryside. Like,
yeah, but that's probably because they were just as displaced as you were feeling.
A Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, you know,
yeah.
It was all that.
Bedknobs and broomsticks.
Yeah. Stuff's too complicated in London, but I didn't have that option until I got to 12 and then went to boarding school.
So yearning to be an evacuee.
Yeah. Literally. It's like, imagine what's at the other end of the train. Who might pick me up?
Imagine if someone put us on a train to go live with like a nice family in the Cotswolds.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere like Henry. Maybe my new dad will be Henry VIII.
You would have loved some weird shit like that.
Fucking would have loved it. Anyway.
So I wanted stability and you wanted comfort. Same thing, really.
Yeah.
Safety.
Preaching from the same hymn book there.
I would just say a book that did change my idea of life was a weird one. It was, again, just in the house.
The Bible.
The Bible. It's a bit niche, but it's the Bible. No, it's the Marilyn Monroe biography that was in my mum's house. And I was like, I don't know why I picked it up that day. I mean, you know what? It might have been one of the first days that I decided to stop going to school. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And so I picked it up and I remember thinking, you get to see all these pictures of her as a kid and all the, and also her life was fucking horrendous. And she was put in all these different orphanages. And I was just, I think it was the first time I realized that the story behind what you see of someone's life can be really distressing and interesting and captivating, and that every life has lots of twists and turns. And I would say to you, Lil, now, actually, when you're saying you can't read at the moment to escape your horrible life. No, I'm joking.
No, I can now. I can. I'm reading again. I just mean 6 months ago I couldn't.
Oh, right. Makes total sense. So what really helps me is that the escapism of another life and a life that you think you know a lot about, which is why I watch so many documentaries about people's lives, because like yesterday, I watched a Billy Joel documentary, which was riveting and just unbelievable. Just the amount of ups and downs that go through his life. And every time you go, okay, cool, we must be good now, some other fucking disaster happens because it's a life. So I really like reading biographies in the same way that I like watching biographical documentaries, because it reminds you that every life has a lot of challenges and twists and turns. And it's good to be reminded of that. Something that Instagram doesn't do.
I wouldn't know because I don't go on that.
I wouldn't know. I don't know that app. That was our final question.
Woo!
Turn the page, close the page, put the book back on the shelf till next week. The theme for next week's Listen Bitch is slang. Oh yeah, let me just throw that WhatsApp number out like it's spicy or too hot to handle. 08000 30 40 90. 08000 30 40 90.
Slang!
Go on, give us a bit of Pete Tong. Give us a little classic apples and pears back in, a little bit of a absolute. What's apples and pears? Down the stairs, yeah? I'm gonna have to really brush up on my slang.
That's Cockney rhyming slang. I mean, I feel like...
Nice, Lily.
Well, let's talk about it next week.
But this is good. It's nice to know that you know all the categories. There are different types. It's not just an umbrella of slang.
Can't wait to revisit some words we haven't used in a while.
Do you know what I miss? I miss calling people chief.
What a chief.
He's such a fucking chief.
Waste, man.
What a chief. Like that, we got really lucky with our slang. I think we were in the
we wouldn't know because we don't know what the kids are saying. They might have some really cool ones. We have to look it up.
Can we do some research? Because I don't think they do. The things I hear sound bogus. And yes, I said bogus. But that's because we had a film called Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Like, you got to know. If you know, you know.
Bogus Adventure, no?
No, it was Excellent Adventure and then Bogus Journey. Okay. Sequel.
Apparently they're doing Waiting for Godot, those two. Did you hear about that?
Those two? Well, the guy that played Bill?
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves are doing Waiting for Godot on Broadway. I'm sure of it. Wait a second.
Taking over from Patrick Stewart and bloody...
Not taking over. It's a classic that people do.
No, but I mean, following in the footsteps of Patrick Stewart and I swear it was Michael Gambon.
Let's have a look. Waiting for Godot.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. What a film.
Here we go. Hang on. Hold tight, caller. Yes, Keanu Reeves is set to make his Broadway debut in a revival of Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot alongside his longtime friend Alex Winter. How funny. I want to go and see it.
You can go on your own to that one.
Previews begin September 13th. I will be there.
Okay. Be there or be square. Another slang classic.
Fucking hell. It's going from September the 13th till January the 4th. Okay.
That's the stock.
Jamie Lloyd directing. Okay.
Interesting. All right, Lily Allen, go get some sleep. You've got a bloody show tonight. Got to be header. Proud of you.
Okay, I'm proud of you too. I'll speak to you next week.
You don't need to be proud of me. I'm not doing a play tonight.
You are. You're living at your mum's and that's hard.
Thank you. Okay, love you. Good luck.
I see you.
I see you too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.